Yay! Here we are. Okay, we'll wait for a couple of
Live.
people to pop on in. How's your day going, Beth?
Good. How's yours?
Good.
Yeah. For a few here.
Cool. So we're going to be talking about creating a great landing zone atmosphere. Exclusion zone, another term.
Yeah.
Oh, Michelle's here.
Hi, Michelle. Thanks for joining us. Just gonna wait for a few more to join on here. We'll get started.
Yeah. You got a good breeze in here, Beth.
I know my window's open. Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah,
because it's above freezing today and it's beautiful.
It is. It's a good whole day.
Some fresh air in here.
Yeah,
we have above freezing days in Canada.
I love that. All right, so we can. Why don't we just kind of like preface?
Yeah.
And then once people join in, then we can go ahead and get going.
Awesome. Oh, Stu's here from Vancouver, BC.
Hi, Stu.
Hi, Stu. Thanks for joining us. Awesome.
Okay. And we have a couple other viewers.
Oh, we do.
Which is great. Okay, so what we want to do here is we're going to talk about creating a great landing zone atmosphere. But we want to encourage you to write comments, ask questions. You know, if you're doing this for the first time or you've never seen an Over the Edge event, you may be interested in kind of hearing some of our tips and tricks, tried and true. But also we can kind of hear your comments. Have you done the event before? What's worked for you? Lots of great stuff. All right. So I guess kind of the first thing that we always chat about is, or, you know, provide guidance on is if you are doing this for the first time, you know, think about your goal. So a lot of partners have a pretty good, like hefty fundraising goal, right?
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Or a media goal. So they want to get lots of media presence. Some partners just are really involved in kind of wanting to get that TV coverage, newspaper coverage. And so that's one of their main goals as well. So if you think of your goal, you're doing this for the first time, building out a huge landing zone party can really get you sidetracked.
It's not going to be your first priority if this is your first year and you know your goals are really set elsewhere.
Exactly. So it's definitely fun. And you know, the reality of an Over the Edge event is that it's really exciting. There's a lot of cool, unique energy that happens that is really unlike any other event. So you can really bank on that. So building out like lots of food trucks and things like that, not necessarily something that you have to do or feel like you have to do when you're, you know, doing your first year.
Yeah.
So if you are doing your first year, what are some things that we can kind of say, okay, these are good things to have?
Right.
What do you think, Beth?
Well, I think it's pretty good to start small, especially if that's not your goal. So, you know, if you want to think about having maybe like one food truck or two, you don't really want to go all out and have so many options. If you want to have like a small chicken coop or something, for your participants to have a seat in. Those are good places to start. They're nice and simple, but they're still going to engage all of your attendees who are watching your participants go over.
Yeah, exactly. So keeping it small, simple, great to have food on site. Kind of the two things that I always really fall back on is it's really great to have somebody announce participants as they go over the edge.
Absolutely.
This is often like secured with a media sponsorship. So you have a radio station there, they have their tent set up, so it's like great branding for them, but they can also announce participants as they go over the edge, which is also really great if you secured rope sponsors. You can say, hey, Beth's going over on rope blue, sponsored by Trustmark. You know, so it's a really great way to kind of honor that sponsorship, and that's one of the elements that we kind of wanted to chat about today. So having an announcer is a really great item to consider if you're doing this for the first year and you don't, you know, you want to have a little bit of something but not go overboard. And then photography as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now those announcers too that you have, if you want to do something a little bit more special with them, they can actually do some interviews with participants who go over. You know, you can pick some of your honored participants and have them selected for interviews, which is nice and engaging for those who are sitting around and watching to hear their story.
Exactly. So, you know, maybe you have your top fundraiser be interviewed by the radio station and kind of talk about why they're involved, how they're, want to support your organization. It really gives you a good mission moment, a good connect with somebody that maybe isn't a staff member or a board member, but somebody that really believes in what you're doing. So, yeah, I love that. You know, trying to honor your tried and true participants. That's great.
I just saw Cassie join from Indianapolis. Hey, Cassie.
Hey,
thanks for joining us.
Okay, so we talked about kind of first year partners. These are items, DJ, photography, over the edge for our community-wide events, and as just an option, as an add-on, you can get Photoflow, which is like a social media photo service.
Yeah.
But additionally, you may want to have a professional photographer. The kind of main thing is that people are going to want photos of their rappel. So I know I did when I went over the edge. So I think I was crying first and then smiling afterwards. I'm definitely afraid of heights, but it was an amazing experience.
And you do need to have someone there who's delegated to take those photos, because the participants can't bring their phones up on the roof, so they can't get their own photos. They can't bring their own cameras. So you do need to have someone there to do that if you want to allow your participants to have photos, which is a really great thing for them to share. Everyone wants that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like with Photoflow, you're able to we put the nonprofit's logo in the photo. So if they put that on their social media, there you go, United Way is represented or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's kind of good branding as well.
There's custom captions that go along with that too. So there's just a whole lot of branding in there. But anyway, whichever one you go into, whichever one you choose, it's good to have photo options for participants.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So first year partners, I think we kind of got you covered there. I wouldn't go too much beyond that. The only exceptions that I have allowed or that I encourage is when I hear that there's kind of a specific subcommittee that's working on this and we have a really robust team, then it kind of makes sense. But when you have a smaller team, it's really important that you focus on recruitment and sponsorship and things like that. So that's kind of when I make those exceptions. So moving on to kind of second plus year partners, building out that ground party and what that can look like. Beth, you want to talk about kind of just ways in which we can engage our spectators so that we can have them there for the whole day?
Well, I mean, for keeping people there for the whole day, I think one of the best things that I've seen was actually a kids zone, because kids are going to be the ones who are going to be bored first. They always are. So if you have kind of a kids activity center, that's a great way to keep the kids and their parents around for the whole day, keeping them engaged the entire time. So once the participants that they're there to see have gone over, they're not going to leave if the kids have some really interesting stuff that they want to do that are there and around. It is kind of like a bigger thing for people who've been doing ground parties for quite some time, but it's a great thing to look at if you're a multi-year event looking to just get a little bit more engagement full day.
Right. And I've seen games that are like family games as well. Prizes involved in kind of I don't know, getting the sandbag in the hole or whatever, it's just fun and cute. I've definitely seen also photo opportunities after the participants completed the rappel, and sometimes that's also a photo opportunity with family and the participants. So having a backdrop or a step and repeat, that's a really great element.
I've seen some pretty cute props there too. There was one, I think it was NASCAR. They had a big green Jeep that you could hold up over and have the two people there who were in the Jeep driving the Jeep with their gear on.
Cute.
Yeah, there's a bunch of cute stuff I've seen there.
That's great. And I've definitely seen I went over the edge for whatever your nonprofit is, and that's a nice, again, branding element for you. Okay, so that's another photo opportunity.
Absolutely.
What else can we do for spectators? Keep people.
Well,
We talked about food trucks already.
Yeah, I
so
did
you
mention
build
the food
that
truck.
out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you get a bunch of your local food trucks. I know there's a couple in the area of Halifax that have a pretty decent following. And there's a taco truck that goes around by the universities, if I'm not mistaken.
It's like a big dragon.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Oh my gosh, yeah, no, it's crazy. So if you can get any of those food trucks that have a pretty good following around, that's always fun. Give people lots of options so that they stick around for lunch, and getting hungry doesn't mean that they have to leave your event.
Right.
So that's always good.
Mm-hmm.
I did talk about the chicken coop earlier too. That's just a kind of a VIP area for people to go and hang out, but I've seen some pretty cute stuff done with that.
You can do a lot of stuff with the chicken coop, and a lot of our partners decide to do this, and you can do it in different ways. I've definitely been to ones where you're kind of in a haystack situation. There's like a sitting area, and you can put on your chicken hats.
You were with hats, weren't you?
Yes, that was great. I think there's a Facebook Live on that.
I think there is.
Page, but yeah, so we've done that. And we've seen that, and that looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
I also know partners that they do kind of a tier where you get to sit in the chicken coop, which has like elevated seating.
Mm-hmm.
So if you donated like over $200 to any participant, then you can go ahead and sit in the chicken coop, and you get these like VIP chairs.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's fun. Honestly,
really
it's a fun opportunity, and if you can create a photo opportunity. And I know in that specific instance where we had tried on the chicken hats, we got media, or the media started talking to us, and like, what's going on there?
No, if it's really cute and really fun, people are going to want to take photos of it too, and share about your event.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
totally.
So we've covered food, but what about beverages? Anything neat you've seen there?
Right. So I do hear about, I personally have never been to one where there is a beer garden or like alcohol served. And so we want to make sure that obviously our participants, it's a great celebration after they've completed their rappel, but it's not something, we don't want anybody drinking alcohol before they go over the edge.
Mm-hmm.
And so a great way to kind of manage this is to kind of have a stamp system or a wristband system. So that, you get a green light if you've completed your rappel and you get that wristband. So I think oftentimes how that's facilitated is the bartender or whoever is kind of mitigating that delivery of the drinks provides that wristband or that stamp or a Sharpie mark, whatever it is, so that our technicians are aware, okay, that person went over and had was in the beer tent. But that's a great way to keep people. I mean, if you have a view of the rappels and you can sit down and have a beer, that's
I can get there all day.
Yeah.
But one thing to be sure about, though, if you're going to do that, you have to make sure that complies with your state-specific and province-specific liquor laws. I'm no expert, but I do know that there are some states that are really, really strict on their liquor laws. So you just want to be careful that you're not in infringement of that in any way.
Right. All part of the permit process, which I know that we're all well aware of.
It's fun.
It's great. Okay. I think that's a lot of stuff. So you have food, drinks, games. I've seen climbing walls, which is really great. That definitely kind of goes with the rappelling really nicely. Photo opportunities. I've definitely seen like noisemakers for cheering on participants, which is really great, and that really kind of creates the festival atmosphere. And and kind of speaking to the DJing, which we talked about, which is really great for first year partners and obviously a continuation. I have a lot of the times the MC kind of shares a fact about the participant, and that's a really kind of nice thing to put into your planning your schedule and kind of inputting that fact. Sometimes partners do a rappel to your song, which I don't know how challenging
that works though.
I don't know how challenging that is to plan for, but I personally I'm very moved by music, so I think I would just start crying at my song. Although I did cry when I went over the edge the first time. So.
Going over there, not because of the music.
Not because of the music. I can't imagine how that would just heighten it. But.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, so that's a lot of great stuff that you can do to kind of boost it up. I mean, I would totally go there. That would just, we could spend the whole day there.
Oh, totally. There was one thing though that I just kind of thought about. It's not necessarily going to engage your participants right then and there, unless you have screens up for this, but it's a live stream. This is great if you actually have like an in-kind sponsorship with someone who does audio visual work, if you're working with an AV company. It's super fun to have a live stream there, maybe from the roof with some screens to show people on the ground what's going on up there. But also that really helps your social media as well if you're able to do a live stream of the event. Like we're doing a Facebook Live right now. You can always do a Facebook Live at your event. And then those who can't be there, they can be there in a sense, which is really, really nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, Christina's saying that she did pick a song for each participant that went over the edge, and what they did is they handed an index card to the DJ. Cool. Love that.
Awesome.
Love that.
That's a great way to organize that.
Monica, hi Monica. She's working on a beer garden, and she's super excited. I think that I was at Monica's event last year, and I think that's going to be awesome. It was working, so
that's going to be fun. I mean, beer gardens are getting super popular now. They're fresh, they're fun, they're trendy.
On a warm day, and
it's just so nice.
Sunshine. Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so super excited about all these ideas.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about sponsors and kind of how we can make sure that they're represented. Right. So yeah, because we kind of talked a lot about spectators and engaging them, but sponsors, and then we did talk a little bit already about participants and kind of how we can honor them. I mean, having that photo opportunity and having them highlighted through being interviewed by the MC, that's a great opportunity. But yeah, sponsors. So what do you think, Beth? Like, how can we, what have you seen?
Well, I've seen, as you just mentioned, with the ropes, announcing, so and so is going over on blue rope, and this is sponsored by so and so. But I've seen a couple of niche logo representations, like having decals or decals. Depends on where you're from. Of the sponsor logo in the landing zone. So you might see that for a landing zone sponsor or for a presenting sponsor if you don't have a landing zone sponsor.
Right.
That was kind of neat.
I think that we don't see a lot of landing zone decals, and I wonder if there's a cost, like what the cost is for that. But I think it's really cool. Like if you get a top-down shot,
looks so good in the picture.
It looks really good. So what we're talking about is just in the exclusion zone, so that area that you section off with the barricades, or the sawhorses or cones, whatever, that you have a decal there. Maybe it's your logo, or maybe, like you said, it's your sponsor. Or you could also do one underneath each rope. That's also an opportunity. I don't see a ton of that, but I have seen it successfully, especially in those photos, because you get that brand representation.
Yeah, there's one or two really, really good photos that I've seen of those. They look really slick. And they're going to be in all of the photos that you have down the building.
Face down.
Yeah.
And another opportunity, kind of as a landing zone sponsor, is if you have barricades, you can do vinyl banners, like tied. The vinyl banner has grommets, and then you tie it to the barricade. That looks really slick, especially because exclusion zones
look so much better than a barricade.
Not exactly pretty. Same with sawhorses and cones and tape. So
they're not a great look.
Yeah, so, having those vinyl banners makes it look really good. And maybe you do, like say you have 6 barricades, you could do 3 of your logo and 3 of the landing zone. I mean, you could definitely do some great branding there as well. So that's kind of landing zone, ropes. I've definitely been to events where there's some grassy area, or you're kind of on like a terrace, and I've seen sponsors recognized through kind of those stick-in signs. So like, thank you for to our anchor sponsor, who is so and so, and the logo's represented there. I thought that was really cool,
Yeah.
especially like this one specific event that I'm thinking of. Yeah, it was pretty much on a full terrace, and so that was all around the event, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's definitely neat.
So lots of great representation, and obviously, if somebody's sponsoring the chicken coop, you have their logos there.
Logo there, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think those are.
Any other good places you've seen them? Or?
I think those are the main ones.
Yeah, those are really stand out.
I mean, if anybody else that's on, if you have any.
Yeah, if you've put a sponsor logo in.
Yeah, that works really well. Go ahead and share that. Yeah, and then anything else for participants?
Oh, I just got something from Elizabeth Shelton here. We're having landing zone logos created by a local sign company that's giving them to us at cost. Even then, it's about $3,000 depending on size. So that might be why we're not seeing them quite as much. That's pricey.
Yeah, for a sign.
For a landing zone sign, that is pricey.
Yeah. So
still cool though if you can get them for cheap.
Yeah, I mean, it's ultimately like it's the cost benefit, right?
Yeah,
so you're going to weigh the pros and cons of like what is my budget, and hopefully you've already did that when you put together your strategic plan. You've identified, okay, this is my budget for marketing, and sometimes you obviously like we talked about at the very beginning, if your goal is recruitment, sponsorship, fundraising dollars, then that's where your marketing's going to go.
Yeah.
Your marketing funds. Yeah. But I mean, in some cases, if you're focusing on creating a community event and kind of adding those elements in, or you're doing this for your 5th year and you want to take it to the next level in terms of how your party looks.
Yeah,
and this is also a good
absolutely.
Opportunity.
Yeah, those are some great ideas.
Perfect.
Yeah, awesome.
Okay. I think that's pretty much all that I wanted to chat on.
Yeah.
How about you, Beth?
I think so. I think that's pretty well it. I mean, let's really just go over some takeaways here for those of you who missed the first little bit of the video. So the first takeaway, of course, is if it's your first year, you don't have to focus too much on your ground party. Don't let yourself get distracted with that. Focus on having you reach your fundraising goal, and wherever else your main focus is at the moment, just don't get hung up on a ground party. That can get better year after year, as long as you have some of the basics.
Exactly. And the basics are having a DJ or MC so that they can announce participants as they go over. Easily done with a sponsorship with a radio station. And number 2, having some sort of photography. These are really the only 2 that you need if you're doing this for the first year.
Yeah, some other next level things to get into would be some food trucks or incorporating a chicken coop. Then if you want to go crazy, there's a bunch of really awesome stuff you can do. Yeah, you can have a kid zone, you can have a climbing wall. What else did you mention?
Oh my gosh. I mean,
beer garden.
I've been there's been concerts. I've been to events where there's concerts. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Music, and I mean, you can be creative and do whatever works for, the networks that you have, the resources that you have, whatever links to your mission. So I know that I feel like oftentimes we just kind of need to throw some ideas out there, and then you really think, but I have this great connection with this band. Oh, that's an easy thing for them to join in. So it just kind of get the ball rolling on some of these ideas.
Get more creative and have more fun year after year. Yeah, never gonna get dull. You'll have a festival every year.
Cool. Okay. Well, we hope you guys enjoyed this. As you can tell, this is our 2nd Facebook Live. So we're hoping to do this every month.
Yeah.
So we will see you next time. Thank you so much for participating, and we'll be here later.